In this video, we cover all the parts of the sphenoid bone so that you are better prepared for your exam. And feel free to check out that skeletal series playlist where I cover all the bones and their structures. The link is down below in the description.
Okay, so here's the sphenoid bone from the superior view of the skull. Now, it is often described as looking like a butterfly or a moth, and much like a flying insect, it has wings. This portion of the bone here is called the greater wing, and this portion is known as the lesser wing. Greater wing and lesser wing. Now, another notable part of this bone is this dip here known as the sella turcica, which is where the pituitary gland of the brain sits. Now, the sella turcica makes up a part of what looks like a saddle. The back end of the saddle here is called the dorsum cellae, and depending on your teacher, you may or may not need to know this structure.
There are also these appendages called the clinoid processes. Here's the anterior clinoid process, which can be found at the most medial portion of the greater wing, and the posterior clinoid process, which makes up the edges or corners of the dorsum cellae. Now, taking a look at the canals and foramen of the sphenoid bone, we have the optic canal, which is where the optic nerve runs through. There are several foramen on the greater wing that can be remembered using the term Ross-L. But before I tell you what Ross-L stands for, be sure to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more educational content like this. So the R in Ross-L stands for rotundum, O for foramen ovale, S for spinosum, and L for foramen lacerum. Here we have foramen rotunda, foramen ovale, foramen spinosum, and foramen lacerum. All of these foramen are channels allowing nerves and arteries to pass through. From the frontal view of the skull, we can see the sphenoid bone's greater wing here. This hole here is the optic canal of the sphenoid bone, which we just saw from the superior view of the skull. From the lateral view of the skull, we can see the greater wing of the sphenoid bone here. So on the exam, if there's a question here asking you to name the structure, the right answer would be the greater wing. If the question asked what bone this is, the answer is the sphenoid bone. So just make sure to be careful. From the inferior view of the skull, the sphenoid bone is seen here and here, this being one half and this being the other half. Now, notable structures include the pterygoid process, which is made up of the lateral pterygoid plate and the medial pterygoid plate. Medial being closer to the midline of the body, and lateral being closer to the outer sides of the body. From this view, we can also see foramen ovale, foramen spinosum, and foramen lacerum. Notice that foramen rotundum is not visible from this point of view. Now that you know every single structure on the sphenoid bone, you are now ready to watch the practice quiz video. You can click on it here on the upper right hand corner, and it comes with a free PDF document that has all the questions on there. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing, guys. Continue studying, continue doing great things, and I'll catch you on the next one.